Today, I'll explain a core area in psychology, a core area that is very important to the brain, and it helps capture everything. It's also where Miller and the Peterson theory were based off of. The memory. First, let's talk about the 3 stages to cognitive processing. We have encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is when things are going into the memory. It's whenever the brain is taking it all in after we just heard it. Then we have storage. That's where things are kept in the memory. And then we have retrieval. That is when the memory is recovering from everything. We also have 3 types of memory. We have sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. Sensory memory is like a camera. It can only hold information for very few seconds, and it would be very, very small amount of information. It's like whenever you snap a camera with the flash on. We have short-term memory, which is also known as the working memory. It has a limited capacity and cannot hold much, but it holds more than the sensory memory. Miller did a study which made his theory that people have a 5 to 9 capacity limit for retaining numbers, items, letters. Most people made it at an average of 7 things. The information in our short-term memory lasts about 30 seconds, or it can be even less. If it is not rehearsed, if it fades off, or it decays. The Peterson study tells us it will eventually disappear if none of those things are done. On the other hand, we have the long-term memory. It has an unlimited capacity, and it can last for a lifetime. The long-term memory has been gained from memorizing and rehearsing and repeating everything from our short-term memory. The information in the long-term memory is huge, and it has 3 ways to store the information it receives. Those would be episodic memory, procedural memory, and declarative memory. Episodic memory is where it remembers a certain occasion, such as a wedding. It would only remember that occasion. We have procedural memory. It's where all the things you learn how to do, such as riding a bike, driving a car. And last, we have declarative memory, which is where all the facts have been stored, such as rules for math, such as capitals, such as states, just facts. And although long-term memory remembers all, it does have interference in there. 2 of them, the 2 would be proactive interference and retroactive interference. Proactive interference is when the new information has been confused with the old one. Therefore, you can't remember the new information. And retroactive interference is when new information is mixed with the old one, and you won't be able to remember the old information. Both of them explain how they get mixed up, and they're retroactives of each other. We also have memory. It is encoded in 3 ways: acoustically, semantically, and iconically. In other words, is the way the information sounds for acoustically. The way the information looks would be for iconically. And what it means would be semantically. That is why we remember those catchy songs with the telephone numbers that go by in the commercials. That would be acoustically. For iconically, it would be like an image, a picture, the way we remember it once we see that. And for semantically, it's what it would mean. So once you grasp the information, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to the other people? And then we have the brain, which is just overall what lets us retain memory. It also can forget, in the memory, you can forget the things, and you have to process it in different ways so you can retain it in your long term memory. Otherwise, it will fade away. The brain has so many functions, and the memory is a very important part of it to help it all work.